Hello, welcome to Kia e-Niro Diaries on the 28th of September. So, two videos in 2 days, which is most unlike me. But the reason for this one is that I had the 90,000 kilometre service done yesterday. And for those who are new to the channel, I am recording the long-term ownership experience of the Kia e-Niro and talking about electric cars in general, as you will see from some of the other videos. So I had the service done yesterday, 90,000 kilometres, just over that on the clock, which is just short of 56,000 miles, I think. So car's 4.5 years old, and the cost to me was €185. So this is one of the bigger services I've had done. Not the biggest, apparently, that's coming. So they changed the brake oil, which they do apparently every 2 years. They replaced the pollen filter. I asked them to clean the air conditioning. Now, it wasn't malfunctioning or anything. It's just that, my experience of cars is that, especially when I used to have a BMW, they used to change the air conditioning gas about every 3 or 4 years. It used to get very smelly and horrible, but apparently things have changed and these things are a lot more reliable now. And going to be 5 years old, the car, in March, and everything's still working fine. Still on the original windscreen wipers, but then again, it lives in this sort of hangar, so it's protected from the rain and the sun, so you don't get much sort of perishing of the rubber. What else did they do? Oh yeah, they just topped up the washer bottle, and they gave it a good coat of looking at. I also asked them to give me a report on the battery health, because 90,000 kilometers, 4.5 years, that's quite a kind of milestone. They can't actually print anything out, but they show it up on a screen, and as I said before, there are 294 cells in the battery of the e-Niro, which is 64 kilowatt hour usable, but actually it's 67.5 kilowatt hours actual battery size. And of course what they're doing is they're keeping a buffer there, so that when the cells reach their maximum voltage on 100% state of charge to give you 64 kilowatt hours of capacity, they're not actually at their theoretical cell maximum. So there's about a 5% difference. So basically, if a cell starts to get a bit weak, they can crank up the voltage a little bit on all the other cells, and they've got some to play with. And that's how you really get the battery buffer. It's not, as I rather naively thought at one point, there were sort of spare cells waiting in reserve for when your sort of main cells started to die. So anyway, they told me that every single cell, all 294 cells, are reaching the specified voltage. It would be good to get a proper report and actually talk to a specialist who can show me a readout. But look, I've not seen any loss of range at all in this car. In the summer, doing local trips, on the odd occasion when I charge it to 100%, it's showing like 540 kilometers of range, which is crazy. It's well over 300 miles. And at 80%, which is what we do most weeks in the summer, that gives about 410 kilometers of range. And in the winter, that really, when it's really cold in the middle of the winter and it's wet, I've seen that as low as like 370. So anyway, I got no worries about the battery. There was a fault actually that I hadn't noticed, but Mrs. e-Niro had noticed, because during the summer we had family staying. They own the house next door as a kind of a second house, and they were here for about 3 months. And they've got a 20-month-old boy, a little toddler. So I've been using the back seats a lot more with the people sat either side of him in his child seat. And it turns out that you can lower the windows on the left side rear, and you can raise them, no problem. On the right side, you can lower the windows, but you can't raise them. It has to be done from the driver's seat. Now, as you know, there's sort of a safety position on the driver's seat where you can actually stop people using the rear windows altogether. So I've had that switched off and on and off and on, and it makes no difference. the rear right window can lower, but it won't raise. So anyway, they found that there's a fault with the switch, and they've booked me in to replace that in a few weeks' time. So that's the second fault really that there's been with the car. The other one was about 2 years ago. The passenger side the passenger side wing mirror wouldn't fold in when you locked it, and they replaced that under warranty. It was still movable. You could still adjust the mirror, but it just wouldn't fold back automatically when you lock the car. So yeah, a little fault there, to be expected, I guess. Things really with this car it's been great. It's the most, I've owned Toyotas, BMWs, Volvos, VWs, some of them from new, and I've never had so few problems with any car. But then again, it's an electric car, there's a lot less to go wrong. So anyway, that's the report. €185. I was waiting in air-conditioned comfort while they did that. Logged on. They've got a Wi-Fi there, and the thing is, when you live in the middle of nowhere like this, the nearest town is like 60 kilometres away. So if you're going to put your car into a main dealer, you got to really have half a day to spend having it done. And I take the opportunity to do some shopping at a supermarket where they sell things that we can't get around here very easily. So anyway, I hope you found that interesting. And next thing's going to be a couple of weeks' time, going down to northern Spain. Never been to that part before. You basically go to Bordeaux and you keep going. And we're going to stay in San Sebastian and do some walking around there. And who knows? If it's warm enough, we may do some more swimming. We have been swimming in October in the Baie d'Arcachon, which is just south of Bordeaux. That was 6-7 years ago now, and it was absolutely wonderful. So, yeah, we do hang on to our summer a bit longer than folks in the UK do. Anyway, again, thanks for watching. Until the next time.